Good afternoon. I thought I would do something a little different on the Fantasy Sports podcast for the day. Normally, I go over my fantasy teams and just in depth, oh my god, I can't believe this guy is screwing up. I gotta fix my team and just narrate how I'm fixing my team on a daily basis. Um, One of the things I look at in fantasy baseball is specifically pitching, because pitching can be more stable and is less prone to variance than hitting, at least from my perspective. Like when a batter gets hot, that's cool, but they can be instantly cold the next game or the game after, and then all of a sudden they're good 3 out of 6 games and look amazing over that span. But those dead games will kill you, as opposed to pitching, where once you have a body of evidence, couple starts here, couple starts there, you can start to see where they're trending, whether it's good or bad. And if they have a bad game, generally speaking, it's not doubly bad, but it's easier to pivot on those guys because of how infrequent they pitch. So you've got more time to figure it out. Not like batters where you're committing to several days of potentially bad stuff. Pitching can be, oh, this guy looks good. Well, he didn't look good last game, and it doesn't look like a good matchup the next game. So let's swap out this guy. With a batter, you're kind of stuck. If he's a good player but in a bad streak, man, you are in all kinds of messed up right there. So I looked at a list of 2-start pitchers this year, or not this year, for this week coming up, the 14th through the 20th of April, and there are 2 names I'm kind of zeroed in on, just based on their availability. There's a lot of pitchers that are going to start twice this week that are really good, like Tariq Skubal out of Detroit, Paul Skeens out of Pittsburgh, Framber Valdez out of Houston, Luis Castillo out of Seattle, Schwellenbach out of Atlanta. Like, there's good guys, but they're all taken. Like, the percentage rostered are fantastically high. So I went to CBS Sports and looked at their availability. And I looked at 2 names in particular. One is Taijuan Walker out of Philadelphia. He's a former first-round pick by the Seattle Mariners in 2010. He's 32 years old, almost 33 years old. And he used to play for the Diamondbacks back in the day after he played for Seattle, and he couldn't stay healthy and put things together, so they had to move him for whatever they could get. And he ended up in Philly playing for the Phillies. And that this year he started 2 games, pitched 10 innings. He pitched 6 innings against Colorado on the 3rd at home, and then he pitched at Atlanta 5 2/3 innings. So 11 2/3, excuse me, instead of 10 2/3. And it's just, that's good. I like that start. He hasn't allowed a single earned run yet, which, by the rules of statistics, he will probably give up some runs this week. But the teams he's playing is San Fran at home, which San Fran has a good team. I also take pitchers that have a chance to win the game. Is Philly more likely to win at home against San Fran or on the road against San Fran? They're more likely to win at home, which is why I actually took Taijuan Walker instead of the guy that he's facing off against, Landon Rupp, for San Fran, because I don't like pitchers, young or old, starting on the road nearly as much as I like them starting at home. So you have Taijuan Walker on Monday the 14th, and then later in the week on Saturday the 19th, Taijuan Walker plays at home again, projected against Cal Quantrill of Miami. Miami is such a weird team to pick. They started out very hot. I don't think the quality of their team is that good. I think they're just getting hot at the right time. Could be hot at the wrong time. But I think they're just overly hot at the beginning of the season. So if you take Miami, at home and San Fran at home. In Philadelphia, I like Taijuan Walker. He's only 32% owned on CBS, and only 22% of all teams are actually starting Taijuan Walker, which means you have a decent chance to pick him up and put him in your lineup for 2 starts this week, which could help out your team. That increases your strikeouts. If you need innings pitched marks, like some will have minimum innings pitched for their roster. That way you don't fill up your team full of relievers that pitch 1 inning at a time to mess up your ERA and your whip ratios, your walks plus hits divided by innings pitched. So, Taijuan Walker is good for 2 starts this week. The other pitcher I would like to look at is Tyler Alexander out of Milwaukee. He will start at home on Monday against Detroit, who's going to trot out Tariq Skubal. And Skubal is one of the best pitchers in the league. That does not bode well for the Milwaukee offense. But he is at home, and Alexander, a former second-round pick in 2015, has been used as a swing guy over the course of his career. He's pitched a lot out of the bullpen and a little bit as a starter, and he's had all right stats. Alexander has pitched 4 times this year and started twice. He has a total of 12 2/3 innings pitched so far this year. He has really good ratios right now. The only downside is his whip is a little high. His whip or not his whip. His whip is decent. It is 1.18, or it is 1.18. The disconcerting part is not the amount of hits that he's allowing, but he is dancing around the batters. His walks are atrociously high at 5 walks per 9 innings. And that's not very good. Normally you want pitchers with walks per 9 to be below 3.5, and even that is high. If you're really good, you can justify 3.5, but traditionally you want even at 2.5 walks per 9 innings. So he has the potential to get wild, but he is at home against Detroit, but more crucially, he's home against the Athletics on Friday. And to play that Athletics offense outside of Tyler Soderstrom, I'm not really scared of anybody. Shane Langeliers is their starting DH or catcher. And, he's got some power, but he's not going to hit for average. I can't name another Athletics guy off the top of my head. Butler's there. If Butler gets on base, you've got some trouble, but Butler's not going to hit above 240. If he hits 240, that's awesome, and if he hits 250, he's going to be, a top 75 player in the league. So, it is really important to consider who on the opposing team is there and how much that's going to hurt you as a starting pitcher. Maybe you can go 5 innings and be fine, but if you have to go 6 innings, all of a sudden, you're going to see those guys at the top of the lineup more often, and they will be able to hit you more frequently as you go through the lineup. So, my pitchers for this week that are 2-start pitchers are Taijuan Walker out of Philadelphia and Tyler Alexander out of Milwaukee. Other than that, there's not a lot of pitchers I would take for varying reasons. Brad Lord out of Washington, not really owned at all, 2% on CBS. But he's got to play against Paul Skeens, who is considered to be one of the top 5 best pitchers in Major League Baseball, and they're playing at Pittsburgh. So that's already, you're on the road. So not going to help you a lot. And 2, he's also supposed to be against Colorado on the road. And Coors Field will wreck a pitcher's ERA like nobody's business. If you pitch up in Denver and you come out of there with less than a 4 ERA, that's a miracle. You can count on your hand, on a single hand, how many times the ace pitcher for the Rockies has come out with less than a 4 ERA at home. And essentially, you're looking at Jeff Francis one year. You're looking at, who's the other guy that went to Baltimore? Ubaldo Jimenez. And there's got to be another pitcher or 2 that I'm missing, but that's it. Those are the guys. And Jimenez and Francis haven't pitched for the team in like 10 years. Like, it's possible Aaron Cook back in the day did it, but he wasn't an amazing pitcher. He was just a sinker baller that happened to get a lot of ground balls and not a lot of strikeouts. So he was able to keep the ball down and play with the defense behind him. So, like, there's that. Jake Irwin for Washington, same problem. He's pitching Tuesday at Pittsburgh and then Sunday at Colorado. I don't like those. Landon Rupp, I had mentioned earlier. He's at Pittsburgh to start, and then he's at the Angels, which isn't going to hurt as much as you think, but, like, is Trout back? He's got some nice counting numbers, but his ratios don't look so good. Connor Gillespie is going to play home against the Diamondbacks and then at Philly. I don't like that at Philly. Carlos Carrasco home against the Royals and then on the road at Tampa Bay. Both very winnable games because it is the Yankees, but Carlos Carrasco is pitching with an ERA above 5, which you don't want to see in a starting pitcher outside of Colorado. Like, if you're the Rockies and you have a 5 ERA guy, you're going to deal with it because hopefully your team will mash behind him and you don't have to worry about it. Everywhere else, it's like, you got a 4.2 ERA. You're kind of up there. With the Rockies, if you got a 5 ERA, as long as the team's hitting behind them, they won't worry about it. And then above him, you get guys that are either extremely fresh, playing against difficult opponents, or are too well owned to be useful in a let's pick up and stream league. So my guys for the week, once again, is Taijuan Walker out of Philly and Tyler Alexander out of Milwaukee, with, I guess, a runner-up for Rupp, but that Philly offense is really good, and I don't want to bet against Philly at home. So I don't want to recommend a guy just for one start, otherwise I'm going to be like, hey, you might as well take Patrick Corbin and his 5.5 ERA against the Angels and then chuck him against the Dodgers. Brad Lord gets to play against one of the best pitchers in the league, but then has to play at Coors Field. Can't take a Rockies pitcher to save his life. Can't play him at the Dodgers and then home against the Nationals. Like, home against the Nationals? Cool. It's still at home. But the Dodgers? Hell no. So, outside of that, no, you know what? I think that's it. I think that's the guys that I want to recommend for the week. I don't have a bunch of batters because we're still so fresh in the season. My usual metric for gauging batters in particular is using the last 14 days to check their stats, and then drilling down on a 7-day deal and seeing how different their last 7 is from their last 14, and then go from there. Usually, I like to see that they're starting a lot, and that they're hitting decently in the lineup, and that anything above 7th place, like your 8th and 9th hitters, are just defensive guys that are in the lineup somewhere, or you're starting fresh in the league and you don't have anywhere else to go. That pitching is a little easier. You look at your ratios and you look, more importantly, at what the other team looks like. Are you starting a pitcher at home? Is the other team really bad at hitting? or are they good? Do they strike out a lot? Like, so many different things you have to look at. But yeah, I think there's two pitchers that would be available. Otherwise, you can go for the real simple ones that are like, hey, I want to take Paul Skeens because he's home against Washington, and then he has Cleveland that he's got to play, who's got a good offense, but they're in Pittsburgh. Tariq Skubal also at Milwaukee, and Milwaukee tends to be good at home. He's also home. He'd be on the road at Milwaukee and then home against KC. Max Fried for the Yankees would be my go-to pick for the week, to be honest. You get KC at home, and then you have to play at Tampa in a essentially AAA park, which is the Yankees minor league state. The Yankees spring training stadium is where Tampa Bay is going to play for at least this year, if not this and next year, while they figure out their stadium problems, where the hurricane came through at the end of last year and absolutely crushed everything. Thank goodness it was after the baseball season ended, because holy crap, that would have been a disaster of monumental proportions. But yeah, like Max Fried would be like my go-to pick for the week. Just, you're a really good pitcher, you're pitching for the Yankees, and you have the good the good matchups for the week. So that'll be it for today. I'll be back later with an update on my standings, and I will give a heads up as to how my teams are doing. I'll probably break them into little pieces, 4 teams at a time, since I'm running 8 teams, and I'll give, here's 4 pieces here, here's 4 pieces there, and we'll just figure it out day by day as to how I release these on baseball. I know I've said in the past that my hockey season is pretty much over. I've got 1 team left that I'm going to clinch 3rd place in this league. I got 4th place last year. I got 3rd place this year. Hopefully I'll make it to the championship game next year. I got a couple prospects in the pipeline that I'm waiting on. But that will be for another podcast where I go over guys I'm really excited about. And I'll probably release a couple short episodes, and that title them like 25A, 25B, 25C, and then just kind of pick at them a little. So, thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.